Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everybody to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips. Joining me, as always, is Jeff Torrey, and today our episode is going to be about players we love, which, if you've been listening for the last weeks, months, we've talked about all these players, I'm sure. But we're going to kind of condense it into one episode. We go over these guys, why we're targeting them, why they're going to be on our teams, all of that. And there's some maybe could be towards the top of the list, top of the ranks, but there's going to be a lot more further down, top 20, top 30. I think I even go down to like in the 40s and wide receiver for one of my guys, maybe in 50s in the consensus ranks. I go down there quite a bit on the wide receivers. There's a lot of guys I like down there that I'm targeting. So we'll go over all of that. But actually, I want to get this episode started with a new segment, Jeff. I haven't even told you this. It's a new segment. It's just called Today's Stat. Very simple. And this isn't going to be an every episode kind of thing. Once in a while, I'll bring out some stats I just want to discuss real quick. I just want to bring up Andrew Luck, his first 2 years, and Jameis Winston's first 2 years, just because Jameis Winston is one of these guys that I love this year. And I was kind of curious about how Jameis's numbers kind of lined up towards somebody like, trying to go. I could have compared him to, you go further back, Breeze, Brady, those kind of guys. He's going to probably look a lot better than them. Because when they came into the league, 2001, 2002, the quarterbacks weren't playing as well. So, Jeff, what do you think? Do you think they lined up pretty well? I'm sure you think, after I'm bringing it up, of course they do.
Yeah, I would assume so.
But it's hard to compare him. But I was trying to think of a top guy to compare him to. And you can't do it with Breeze and Brady. First off, Brady didn't play his first year. Breeze didn't play his first year. And even Rodgers missed his first, 3 seasons. So it's really hard to compare him with the guys, especially the NFL's changed so much. So Andrew Luck's first 2 seasons. First year, right off the bat, he threw 4,300 yards, which was ridiculous. 23 touchdowns, 18 picks, 54% completion percentage. So not great there, but second year went up 60% completion percentage, 3,800 yards, still had 23 touchdowns, 9 picks. So decent first 2 seasons. And then he finally broke out in his third year, 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns. Completion percentage was up closer to 62, and still only 16 picks for 40 touchdowns. Pretty good discrepancy there. Now Jameis, his first 2 years, 4,000 yards both seasons. First year, 22 touchdowns, 15 picks. Second year, 28 touchdowns, 18 picks. Completion percentage, 58, and then up to 60.8. I really feel like you're going to see that Jameis make that Andrew Luck third-year leap. That's why he's like one of the guys I really love this year. I can see that. What do you think? Do you think that's possible? I mean, I think you're on. You like Jameis.
I was a big fan of him last year. Even I drafted him. I think it's probably. Yeah, it's very, very possible.
Well, and think about it. Andrew Luck came in. He didn't probably have as many weapons. I don't have the exact roster in front of me right now. But he finally started getting some weapons, and it really took off. He knew the offense that third year. Jameis has more weapons now. Deshaun Jackson, O.J. Howard, to go along with Evans and Cameron Brate and those guys.
Yeah.
This could be the big breakout where it really jumps.
Yeah, I was trying to think back when Luck was starting his playing at in Indianapolis, and it is fairly similar, really, because they were both coming to teams that were kind of rebuilding.
They were number one picks for a reason. For both, they were in bad teams.
I was trying to compare them as far as rushing as well, because obviously Luck doesn't get out of the pocket too much. And I know I always think of Winston as a runner, but he's really not.
No, not
I mean,
not as
in
much.
both times he has 200 rushing and then 160. So that's not even you're not even adding that really. His rookie year, he did have 6 rushing touchdowns. That dwindled to 1 last year.
Yeah.
But I do think, but because of that, his passing touchdowns.
Andrew Luck's rookie year, he ran for 5 touchdowns with 255 yards.
It's really weird to see how closely they resemble each playing season.
And you look at what he had to throw the ball to. He had an aging Reggie Wayne who still caught 106 balls, but has a lot of balls. This was a couple years ago. Reggie Wayne's getting up there. He had T.Y. Hilton, who was just coming on. He only had 50 catches that year. It wasn't T.Y. Hilton of today. And then you had Dwayne Allen at tight end yet, it just never really. He's still. I don't even know if he's going to do anything with New England. And then the third receiver they had there catching balls, let's see, or actually, T.Y. Hilton was the third receiver. The second receiver was Donnie Avery.
Donnie Avery, wow,
so,
that's a name for
he didn't have much to throw it to either. So I'm just trying to figure out a player to compare him to. And that seems to be something that I could see that trajectory came up.
Yeah, and I also like it because I feel like, especially back when Luck started, they still had Frank Gore. They had a legitimate running option, and they've really struggled in the running game, mostly because, the Buccaneers have the last few years, mostly because of inconsistency with runners and because of injury, and now,
I don't even know if they had Frank Gore back then yet. 5 years ago? They might not even have.
Was it Edgerrin James?
No, it might have been.
Who was it?
I don't even know here.
But
I don't know if he was there yet.
But they really can't lean on the run. So I feel like his passing touchdowns are going to have to increase if they want to win.
Yep.
And on top of that, you pointed out already, the weapons he has, there's no reason that shouldn't have gone up already, let alone for he's seen the, NFL for another season, so things should slow down for him.
Yep.
He is one. I really do think that his numbers will go up. It's just how significantly.
Yep.
You said Luck was in the 40s for touchdowns?
Yeah, he got to 40 touchdowns and 4,700 yards. And, their passing yards first 2 years are similar. Their touchdowns are even similar for those first 2 seasons. Actually, Jameis, I believe, probably has about 4 more touchdowns over 2 seasons than Luck had. Not much. It's not a big difference, but it's something. And that's the jump I could see him making.
Yeah, and 45, in the 40s is a lot. Even if he went mid-30s, which wouldn't be a crazy guess, he would still make a significant jump. He would still be a secure QB1 that you could start every week. Yep. So I don't see any reason why that couldn't be one of those guys. I understand why you love him so much. He has all the tools you need in order to be a top-tier quarterback.
I think so, too. Well, I'm going to skip him now when we get into the actual episode. We've talked about Jameis enough now. But before we get into our list, so make sure you guys check us out on Twitter. We're at the FF Prophet. On Instagram, we're Fantasy Football Prophet. Our website's fantasyfootballprophet.com. You can always send us an email, fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com. If you have any questions for your leagues, for your drafts, keepers, anything you think of, just send them our way. Draft strategy. I was actually talking draft strategy on Instagram last night with some people on there. So if you have any questions, just, find one of those ways to get a hold of us. Myself or Jeff, we'll get back to you. We'll talk to you, let you know what we think you should do and all of that. And we also have the review contest going on still. If you ever have wanted a podcast about your league specifically, this is how you can get it done. Write us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you can write a review. Send us an email, direct message, whatever. Let us know where you wrote the review. You'll be entered into the contest, and the winner will get a podcast about your actual fantasy football league. We'll go through everything and really break down the league and our predictions for it. So if you want that, make sure you get reviews in and let us know. All right, time for the episode, Jeff. And players we love. So start out, we're going to go position by position. We don't have these ranked. These are just guys that we really like this year for whatever reasons. There's going to be random reasons. We'll talk about them here. So start us out. What do you got at quarterback? I already went over Jameis.
Quarterback. I keep talking myself in this one more and more, but the truth is I really am falling in love with Phillip Rivers because I feel like, and he is an underrated guy as well, but I'm loving him more and more because you just look at the consistency of this guy in his position has been unbelievable, not to mention all the tools that he has this year compared to last year. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, last year he ranked number 8th overall. He can easily make a jump, and it's kind of funny to think that a guy in his age, he's a veteran quarterback, could actually make a jump, is probably why people have him so low ranked. And it's kind of funny.
And he's still younger by 3-4 years than Brady, Breeze, those guys. He still has some. He's not Roethlisberger, who we feel is beat up and could be retiring in a year. Rivers is actually on my list as well.
Yeah, I really do love the guy.
We're both targeting this game. And so it's going to be harder for us in our leagues to pick him up for cheap. This is a player, if you want to do that wait on a quarterback strategy, Phillip Rivers, I really think could be your guy.
Yeah, and it's crazy because he's right now, currently in many leagues, he is ranked 14th on average.
Yep.
14th. And a guy that, ranked 8th last year without Keenan Allen, with Hunter Henry when he was a rookie, and without Mike Williams, who was obviously not on the team yet.
I think people have forgotten how good Phillip Rivers can be when he has weapons. Because here we go. Look at 2008 through 2011. He had plenty of weapons going around at that point. Had a young Antonio Gates, and all the players. LaDainian Tomlinson was probably still around. Here are his ranks for those 4 seasons. He went 3rd, 7th, 4th, 9th, those 4 seasons, when he had weapons. The last few years, he's had some weapons, but for the majority of the time, they've been injured. Ryan Matthews came in at running back, was a good player, hurt all the time. Keenan Allen, great, been hurt. How many injuries does he have around him all the time? So the last 5 years, he's gone 21st in 2012. He still had a 6th place finish in 2013, then went 12th, 11th, 14th. So even if you get it, those last couple of years haven't been great, and he's done that with no weapons. And it's still at the bottom end of quarterback 1, really a quarterback 2. But he's done it with nobody. Can you imagine if he has a healthy Keenan Allen with a great running game we'll see Mike Williams. Mike Williams is now hurt, of course. Yeah. But Tyrell Williams is still there.
Yeah.
Gates, Henry. He has all kinds of people to throw the ball to. And I'm excited about it. I think I could definitely see a top 10 season for him without a doubt. If he goes back to look, that's what he was when he had people to throw the ball to. So I am definitely big on Rivers. And there's really not much else to say about that. I love that team. I'm a big fan of it. I really am. Do you have any more quarterbacks? I only have one more, actually. I do have one more.
No, I think
I have one more.
We've talked about him.
All right, I have one more guy here quick. It's actually Tyrod Taylor. I've been talking myself into Tyrod Taylor more and more and more. And this isn't a guy I'm going to be targeting to be my quarterback, if I wait. But it's a guy that I'm probably in deeper leagues. I might consider him. And I don't know. He's been fairly consistent without much to throw the ball to. If he has a healthy Sammy Watkins. This is kind of how a healthy Sammy Watkins is kind of the key here. And you don't have to do much to pay. You don't have to pay for Tyrod Taylor. And actually, you know what? I actually might start a season with Tyrod Taylor and be okay with it because of his rushing. And that's why I just find myself talking myself into Tyrod more and more, and I'm excited about it. So he's kind of like one of my guys for this year that I'm kind of just he's going to be going up my ranks when we redo our rankings here coming up. He's actually going to go up a couple spots already. I don't know what it is. It's just I like having those floor of rushing stats. That is a big thing for me. So he's kind of becoming one of my guys now. All right, running back, Jeff. This is another shorter list, I believe. Because a lot of these guys, we're trying to find guys that we are just really sold on. And once you get out of that top, I'm not sold on. We've talked about this. I'm not sold on a lot of these guys in that middle tier. I'm not. There's committees. There's veterans who are getting up in age. There's rookies who are unproven. There's just situations we don't know what's going to go on.
Yeah, and it became very, very tough to talk about guys I really loved at running back for the exact reason you're talking about. Obviously I love the top 3 we always talk about.
Yep.
David Johnson,
that goes
Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell. Just to put it out there. Actually, they are. It really is. They're as safe as it can be.
I'm going to talk in a little bit. I'm going to talk quick about this is completely not anything to do with anything. We've done our ranks. Where did you rank Zeke? Did you have him second?
Second, yeah.
And I am actually really I don't know. I'm really talking myself into Zeke too. Like he's starting to. I'm considering it when I'm looking at redoing these ranks. I don't know. I could have him ahead of David Johnson. I'm not even joking. I might move David Johnson to third. No one else seems to be doing that. I might do it because there's something about it. Like David Johnson relies so much on his receiving stats, that's good. It's great to have that, but I kind of want a player that is a running back who's getting his running stats from his rushing ability and doesn't have to rely on that because I don't know how that passing game is going to work in Arizona. That's my over. I'm not down on David Johnson. I'm just really, really liking Zeke lately. So he's kind of becoming my guy. So Jeff, are you going to keep him or are you not going to keep him in our keeper league?
Unfortunately, I don't think he'll be able to.
All right, so we got a bidding war going on. I just want to get that.
It's too expensive to keep.
Well, Zeke's just. Yeah. I'm big on Zeke right now.
I think the thing I love about Zeke too, when we talk about the top three guys, I think he's the safest.
Yep. That's what I'm starting to think. He is the safest guy.
I think David Johnson might be the most talented, but I also think out of the three, he's probably a little more risky than the other two.
Yep.
So I totally understand, and that's why Zeke was number 2. Comparing, I realize we flip flopped on Bell, but
it's like a 1A, a 1B, and a 1C to me. It's not even a 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really bother me whatever order people put me.
I want the third pick if I'm going to snake draft.
Yeah, absolutely, because it doesn't matter to me.
All right, but okay, the players we love.
Yeah.
Here we go. Mine, first guy is Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy. And
you've been jumping on his bandwagon.
And he made weight again. He's now down below 250.
Yep.
So he keeps making weight. That's what I'm saying. I think this season, I don't know what's going to happen beyond this season, but I just don't see any way Eddie Lacy comes into this season not in probably the best shape he's been in since at least, his rookie year, maybe second year in Green Bay. I just really feel like he has something to prove. And we've talked about if he doesn't do it, I think he's out of the league. That's how big of a situation it is. Maybe not out of the league, but he's never going to get this kind of chance to be a starter again, at least off the bat. And I really think he's going to come in great shape and have a great season, as long as that Seattle offensive line is improved a little bit. But if you have a healthy Russell Wilson, that's only going to help him. If Russell Wilson's healthy and has the threat of running back, like he didn't have that last year with his ankle injuries, it's going to make that running back situation so much better. And Eddie Lacy kind of being drafted as a third running back right now, I love that. I am going to draft him every time if I can get him as my running back number 3. And that's what I'm hoping he stays down the list. So you got any other running backs or got any thoughts on Lacy?
No, not Lacy. He's an interesting one. I like that you're kind of going out on a limb because he does have some people behind him as well, Rawls and
that's
Prosise.
The thing. We don't know the Rawls situation. I just really feel like he's going to beat out Rawls, and it's his job.
I think this is the first year where obviously he's getting a lot, talked about quite a bit because of his whole weight thing and actually having to weigh in and do all that.
Yep.
But he's one of those guys that you have never really seen his full potential. So I like the fact that you're kind of reaching down to and picking this guy out because I truly think he does have a tremendous amount of upside. Because you saw what a physical runner could do there, like Lynch did all those years.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all I have on Lacy. But the one running back, and he's already up there, but for me, I really like Melvin Gordon.
Yep.
And obviously, I don't think a lot of people are going to disagree with me. But at the same time, you look at what he did, and once again, another guy that's on that Chargers team.
I love that
but,
team.
Yeah, he had a bunch of touchdowns. He did much better rushing the ball. He's finally got his feet under him. He looked night and day compared to his rookie year. Yep. And on top of that, he had like 5 rushes. But for most purposes, he actually missed 4 games on top of that. And he still ended up as the 8th overall running back, I believe. He has an opportunity to kind of continue from last year. And if, it's a big if, but if he could even say only miss 2 games or if he could get a full season, heaven forbid, all of a sudden I think he jumps up, and maybe not in that top 3 discussion, but he's probably going to be the 4th running back and someone that you get at a little bit of a price cut as well. And I think that team is just built to be a high-scoring offense, and I think he's going to actually benefit from that. The fact that he got a ton of touchdowns last year doesn't freak me out because I think they're going to be passing all over the place. He will get out in the red zone a lot.
I feel like the offense will be better. There's going to be actually more opportunities, even if he doesn't score on the same percentage maybe of touchdowns as he did last year.
Exactly,
the touchdowns still going to be up there because I think they're going to score more touchdowns.
Yeah, so I'm really high in Melvin Gordon. He's already up there, but I think he's one of those that I feel safer about than the other running backs.
Yep. All right, my next guy is Doug Martin. And we've talked about Doug Martin, and we get Doug Martin, and almost every time we do a mock draft, we end up with Doug Martin on our team. Or at least consider him. Mm-hmm. Yes, he's going to miss 3 games, but that's actually going to help if you want Doug Martin. If he wasn't going to miss these 3 games, he'd be up in the top 20. And I wouldn't love Doug Martin at that point, probably. I mean, he might even be top 15 if you knew he was healthy. And if he's healthy and not suspended. But he's currently ranked as the 34th running back. And people are down on him because they also don't know, why did he get suspended, this whole thing, all this stuff. But if you can get him as your 4th running back, you have a guy who can be a top 10 running back. He has potential to be a top 10 running back. He's done it. Like, it's not just saying, oh, this guy could do this. He's actually done it, I think, twice. He was amazing in those 2 seasons that he had. Just, the guy was ridiculous. And I feel like this is a Doug Martin year. It's like this every other year type thing, and it's his year again, I think.
I would take it a step further. You said 4th running back. I would feel very, very good if he was my 3rd.
I would too, and
I think that'd be great because you don't need 3 running backs out there.
Yep.
You can make up those 3 games through wide receiver or something else. So I totally agree with you on him.
Yep. I love right now he's ranked one spot below Danny Woodhead. I like Danny Woodhead. He's fine. I just think Danny Woodhead doesn't have Doug Martin's potential. So what? I mean, I love the pick this year. Any other running backs on your list?
No,
all right.
Really
so
aren't.
my final running back, I'll just let you know, is whoever wins the job in Washington.
Yeah, right. That's such a cop out.
No, it's just I don't actually. I would. And I don't think somebody is going to win this job. So I think it's going to be more of a committee type role.
Yeah.
If somebody were to win this job, if it's Robert Kelly, if it's Samaje Perine, if you drafted him on your team, you're going to be drafting a guy in the 30s who is a starting running back who should have a good offense on probably a good team. You're going to be set. Problem is, how do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Everyone. I mean, I even thought it could be Perine coming on, but I don't think it's going to start the year that way. And I'm not 100% sold that it will because it's just, how do you know? How do you know? They liked Rob Kelly enough last year to completely get rid of Matt Jones. It's the same coaching staff. It's not like that's changed. They liked Rob Kelly. It's not like all of a sudden they just don't like this guy. He did great for an undrafted rookie, but he was an undrafted player. So, but if somebody wins that job, and we knew it definitively, I'm going to love that player. So.
Yeah. I would almost go a step further and talk about Perine, Kareem Hunt, and KC with the same exact situation.
Those kind of players, man, take a chance on one of those rookies. Yeah. It's just, you might get the Jordan Howard situation from last year. You might get David Johnson from 2 years ago. And that's take a chance.
That's a very, very good point because there is a lot of running back talent out there that has an opportunity to really steal carries. And besides for Kareem Hunt, I also like Deontay Foreman with the backing up Lamar Miller. Yep. And then on top of that, however Green Bay shakes out.
Yeah, get Jamal Williams. Even Joe Williams from San Francisco. Like with Carlos Hyde situations, if you have spots on your bench, you have a deep bench, take a chance on a guy. If you don't reach, don't spend much, but just throw a rookie running back on your bench.
So I guess it's not so much a player we love, it's just the possibility.
Yes. Getting a rookie running back who's not going to cost anything, and who knows? Maybe he's David Johnson. He's not going to be David Johnson. Maybe he's Jordan. Could be Jordan Howard. I don't know.
Could be. That's Perine or someone like that.
They really could be. All right, so wide receivers, and I think this is where the list gets a lot bigger. And there's a lot of guys we like, and that's why we're telling everyone, draft running backs. Get running backs early. Spend on running backs in your auction.
I have a feeling that we're going to agree on a bunch of these
we
well.
Probably will, and my list is kind of going to be short. Actually, I think shorter than yours.
Oh man, there's a lot to love here.
There's quite a few. So start us off, Jeff.
All right. No surprise, Keenan Allen is going to be the number one guy for me. I think the guy is very, very good. Once again, just to get all my Chargers out of the way, I think he has the ability to step in, and as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be an absolute target monster. Yep. So I think he's even better in PPR. But this guy,
he's just been great. And 2 years ago, I can't remember his stats right off the top of my head, but before his injury, he was on pace for just a phenomenal season.
Exactly. So, and I do have him up in front of me, but his first year, just to kind of show you his progression, he played 15 games. He had 71 receptions for 1,000 yards and 8 TDs. Wonderful for a rookie campaign. The next year, he follows it up with 77 receptions, but only 800 yards and 4 touchdowns. So it did regress, but he missed one more game. And then when he truly looked good, they were talking about he looked faster, all this kind of hype behind him. 8 games, he went for 67 receptions and 725 yards with 4 touchdowns. That's in half a season. So obviously, if you double that, the guy is a candidate for 120 receptions, 1,400 yards, and 8 TDs, which would be huge. Yep. And then he follows that up, and that was a lacerated spleen from a hit. So he comes back. He has one game, plays a half, 6 receptions for 63 yards. So, he was in.
You were feeling pretty good last year.
I was feeling really cocky for about a half of football. But once again, you're just seeing the reception. So if it's PPR, this guy is phenomenal. And even if it's not, I think this guy can come out of nowhere. And even better, because of his injuries, you're going to get him at a discount. And yes, this was a knee. But how many times have you seen a guy come back from a knee? And he's already running full speed in practice. He's not, I don't think he's currently making cuts or any contact. But at the same time, he's on track to be in shape and start the year. And I just absolutely love this guy. I think he has tremendous upside.
It's not like his speed has ever been the main key to it. He's more of a possession type guy, I feel like, anyway. The knee's not going to probably affect it quite as much. People, they're coming back from those these days. Unless you're Jamal Charles or you're Dion Lewis from last year. Those were, we had a couple setbacks, but for the most part, the majority of the time, players are coming back from these ACLs a lot quicker than before. Jordy Nelson last year, he came back perfectly fine. You wouldn't even know he had the injury. So,
that's actually a very good point.
Happening a little more. All right, my first guy, Willie Snead.
Okay. Yeah, he's on my list as well. I love Willie Snead.
We love this. I'd like the player to begin with. But I just love the situation even more. He's now the number 2 on probably, one of the top 3 passing offense in the league. Who else other than the Patriots and Packers, really? They're right there. And he's the number 2 now behind Michael Thomas. And he's played with Breeze longer than Michael Thomas has even. Everyone thinks Michael Thomas is really going to jump up there quite a bit, which I do like Michael Thomas, but I'm seeing him as the 7th receiver now. To me, it seems a little much. I think it's going to go more. The Cooks passes are still going to go more towards Snead. It's not going to all go to Michael Thomas, but Snead. His first 2 seasons, just under 1,000 yards, basically both years, and about 70 catches and 3-4 touchdowns. He's not that.
Now you wide receiver 3,
and now you become a wide receiver, and the wide receiver 2. I think things are going to change quite a bit there. And they're going to jump up. I think it's going to be 80 to 90 catches with 1,000 yards at least. And I see the touchdowns going up. Everything's going to go up slightly. It's not like we're going like this guy's going to be, top 10, but it's very well could be top 20. Very easily.
I would actually. I think there's an opportunity where he might be one of those guys to sneak up there as high as 12 or 11.
Yep.
You saw it last year with Brandon Cooks and Michael Thomas were both top 10 guys are right on the cusp there, back to back. And right now, I know it's just players we love, not necessarily undervalued, but Willie Snead was the 34th overall wide receiver last year as a number 3, right? He didn't really have any touchdowns, so that really kept him down. He's ranked right now as the 34th, on average, 34th wide receiver. How in the world do you rank him the same as what he did last year? Now he's going to get a lot more. And I think he could be a candidate for 100 catches. I'm not even joking about this. You get 70 as a wide receiver 3, Brandon Cooks takes off, and Thomas as a rookie blew up, so he's going to get a lot more attention than Willie Snead is. This guy could be another one of those just target monsters we're talking about. I love him even more in PPR once again, but I do. I think this guy's ceiling is so high, and everyone's sleeping on him.
I feel like they are. He's still too far down there. I don't know what it is. It's just they don't think the player. Something they haven't seen Willie Snead just be that great before. I think he's a very good player. And I think he has a very low floor. He's a very low floor player.
Saints are very, very.
Yeah, you're not gonna get him in just be getting these 2-point weeks. If the worst you're gonna get is 6-point week, and you can live with that. You can't live with the up and down stuff. It's not Cooks who was just going to be 1 point and then 20.
Yeah,
he's a very safe player.
And can you imagine a world where a Saints 1 or 2 wide receiver gets only 4 touchdowns?
His
touchdowns have to go up. And even better, I don't know if they're going to renegotiate by the time the year starts, but he also might be on a contract year where he's looking for that big. And I've seen it how many times where players just go crazy because obviously you're playing for that big contract.
Yep. All right, who's the next wide receiver for you, Jeff?
I got to go with Terrell Pryor.
Yeah, I didn't put him on my list, but he was probably the next consideration if I was going to put somebody. I actually only went with 3 receivers, but he would have been my 4th if I went with it. But.
And I did a little research on him just to do something other than the obvious. Obviously, we know the guy is 6'4", 220. The guy is incredibly fast.
Yep.
Athletic as all heck, right? On top of that, he's going from Cleveland, which was a dumpster fire last year, to a passing offense that did very, very well. He's going to be the number one wide receiver once again. And the stat, thanks to ESPN that I actually found it on, I was actually wondering, because his volume was pretty large in Cleveland.
Yep.
So if I didn't want that to be the only argument against him. But in Cleveland, guess what percentage of balls were off target that were thrown to him? I know this, and it's only.
I wouldn't even have a guess. I don't even know.
And when I saw this, I thought it was a typo because it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But off target, 26.7%.
I was going to say 10.
Yeah,
I was thinking maybe 10%. How much are really off?
yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, that's pretty mind-blowing, and it's even more mind-blowing because he has such a huge catch radius. So now that you go and you put Cousins, under center for him, throwing him the ball. He's another one that I think the sky's the limit. And yes, you're not getting him quite as big of a discount as someone like Keenan Allen or Willie Snead, probably because he is ranked, I think, 21st overall.
But if you're in a 10-team league, that's a wide receiver 3, and you're gonna love your team if you have him as a wide receiver 3.
Exactly. And I'll definitely pick him up before that. But last year, say he's ranked 21 right now, he's in a better position. And you think that even if his volume goes down, the amount of good passes going to him will go up.
Yep.
And last year he was 18th overall for a wide receiver. So you got to start thinking, who's going to jump over him?
Yep.
I don't know. I just love the position, and I think with his athleticism, really injury is the only thing that can derail his season. And I don't rank upon that either.
He's the number one guy there.
Without a doubt.
But I'm just going to skip to my next guy and think he might go down only because this guy is going to break out, and it's Josh Doctson.
Okay.
And he's the player I love. He's the player I love who's in the 50s. And I really like Josh Doctson. And I think this is the season that if he's healthy, which there's so many of these guys we talked about.
Yeah. Well, this one's a true issue because he didn't get to play his whole first year.
I really think that he could be, maybe he's not going to be the number one with Pryor, but I feel like he could be the number 2, a real number 2 with Crowder still being kind of more of a possession slot guy getting those catches. That Doxson's really going to become an actual number 2 receiver, outside receiver, and take over that spot. And if this passing offense, if they keep throwing the ball around, which they should be able to, if you got a healthy Jordan Reed, I think everybody is going to catch a lot of balls. It's going to be Pryor, it's going to be Crowder, it's going to be Doxson, it's going to be Reed. They're all going to do well. I think there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
And I love Doctson, I think, a lot more because of where he's going in these drafts and how far down he is, and you have to take literally no risk to get him. He is currently 55th in the ranks. Yeah, we don't know if he's healthy. We don't really know much about him at all right now, but that is a guy you can get down there.
In many drafts, he's probably going to go undrafted.
Yeah, that's what I love. So, he's a wide receiver 6.
Yeah, and I guess to your point, the great and bad thing about it, the reason I don't get as excited about him and why he goes this low, we've never seen him play in the NFL.
That's the thing. It's a complete just drafted him off of college and his combine numbers and all that good stuff. But I'm going to probably have Doctson on most of my teams because I'm probably willing to go pay a little bit more than others. Not much, but in an auction I'll pay $3.
Yeah, I like that. That's a deep one.
Yep. All right. Who do you got next?
Another guy that I'm starting to fall in love with more and more and more, and we had mentioned him in another podcast, and he's getting a lot of negativity, but Kelvin Benjamin keeps creeping up on all mine.
I thought about him too because I like the position he's in. I'm going to find myself with Kelvin Benjamin.
He's ranked 33rd, and last year he was the 20th overall wide receiver, and yes, he was up and down, but he was also on a terrible, terrible offense. They've addressed it a bit, and also he's still by far the number 1 option for Cam Newton, and if that offense rebounds even a little bit, this guy is going to be deadly once again.
Yep.
And so
I love these players because the risk isn't there quite a bit, and I think he's potentially a really great player if he gets himself in shape. Which is 3 months till the games start.
He'll be fine. Unbelievable though. You can get a wide receiver 2 that had a bad year.
Yep.
For he's not even going as a wide receiver 3 right now. It's crazy.
Yep. All right, my next guy. All right, now I finally go up the list, and it's going to be Amari Cooper. And even though he's being drafted at a good spot, he's probably where he should be in all these ranks. But I'm just finding myself targeting Amari Cooper. He's right now 10th player on the board, which is probably about right. I rank him as the 8th player right now. But I think this is the year Amari Cooper breaks out. Like I think Jameis Winston's going to break out and have that big year. I think this is the year Amari Cooper breaks out and becomes one of those top 5 wide receivers. I could definitely see it. I mean, maybe he just makes the top 5 a top 6, or makes the top 4 a top 5, whatever, you know, you want, whatever, if you put AJ Green in that top or not. But I think this is the year he joins, you know, Brown, Julio, Beckham, Evans, Green, it'd be Cooper, you know, Dez, those kind of, I think that you will consider him completely in that group. And so, Mari Cooper, I'm going to be targeting him a lot, because I think, honestly, I feel like there's a chance, if just a regular 100 a redraft league, you could almost sometimes get him as a wide receiver 2. And if you can get him as a wide receiver 2, that's a good spot for him. Yeah, if he's your wide receiver 1, you might, you just want to load up on that second tier a little more. If he's your first wide receiver, you want to get some more guys in that 10 to 20 range. But I like him a lot this year. I think he's going to have a big season with Derek Carr in his 4th year, and that offense is great too. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of his as well. And I mean, what can you say about him? He has just shown it right from the get-go. I mean, the kid had 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns in his rookie season. He comes back even better with 1,100 yards about and only 5 touchdowns. So I just think that his touchdown ceiling has the possibility to really explode. So, I mean, he ups it by a couple hundred yards and 3 touchdowns or so. You're right. I mean, he should be in that wide receiver 1 discussion already. And I would rather get him ahead of time than sleep on him.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he is probably, you know, at the end of that list or whatever. But yeah, I mean, he has so much just raw talent. I think he fell in a very great spot in Oakland, and yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the guy is awesome, and I like Crabtree quite a bit, but he's also getting a little older, and Amari Cooper is just a different player than him. He's going to be the home run threat. He's going to be able to go up and get a few more balls because he's just that kind of freak athlete.
I mean, him and Crabtree have kind of been similar for a few years. I see this being Roddy White, Julio Jones situation, where they were kind of neck and neck for a few years, and then boom, there went Julio. And I think that's where this is the year where Cooper just kind of, you know, leaves Crabtree behind.
Yeah, and Crabtree has the last 2 years has really outdone him in touchdowns, and that's how he kind of keeps up and separates himself. Because, you know, last 2 years he has about 1,000 yards, but Crabtree had 9 touchdowns and 8. You know, that's compared to 6 and 5. So,
all right, Jeff, got a couple more receivers. What do you got? Got any more?
Yeah,
I'm done with mine.
I was gonna say there's a couple other ones. I don't have to go into really in depth, but I like Dante Moncrief. I just think he's in a wonderful position with Luck, trying to shore up that line. I think Luck will do better than he did last year.
Yeah.
And I think he's a better wide receiver than the other options he had last year besides T.Y. Hilton.
And we end up with him. He's another player we end up, like the players on this list are the guys we end up in the mock drafts.
And he catches a lot of touchdowns. It's just, can he stay healthy? That's kind of the big question. Obviously, I have 2 more. One is Martavis Bryant. Big fan of his. He's in the best situation you could possibly be in, across from Antonio Brown, so they double him. You get open more. Undisputed wide receiver 2 on an offense that loves to throw it down the field, and he is truly a freak athlete, you know, kind of in the same ballpark as Pryor. And the last one that I'm very excited about, actually, and he did get injured, but Cameron Meredith has become kind of a darling of mine because he is being ranked currently at 41, and the guy wasn't even a starter until week 5 last year, and he was on a kind of a poor offense. He's going to be the wide receiver 1. The guy across from him is going to be Kevin White, who hasn't really played in the NFL at all yet because he's been hurt.
Yeah, with another guy we don't know anything about yet.
And Cameron Meredith has already done it for a year. Not started until week 5 and surpassed 1,000 yards.
Yep.
So once again, yeah, a lot of mine are kind of down, you know, it's depending where you can get him. But I think this guy and he's a big wide receiver as well. 6'3", you know, he has the measurables on top of that. So I really like him to break out because they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. They're going to have to do a lot of things to stay in the ball game. And he's by far their best weapon besides for Jordan Howard.
Yeah. All right, tight ends. Got any tight ends on your list? Hunter Henry's on your list. I'm going to just throw that out
He's
there,
the only tight end that I have on my list.
All right, it's Hunter Henry.
Oh, dude, I have a lot of Chargers. But yeah, Hunter Henry, obviously I've been promoting this guy for quite a while. I mean, sophomore year, the intangibles, the fact that he did as well he did as a rookie and caught that many touchdowns is pretty impressive alone. I'm guessing Gates will start taking a back seat to him. he can be a very legitimate weapon down the field with Rivers, who loves to throw to tight ends.
Yep.
I mean, you watch any game film on him, he's just a huge wide receiver downfield. I mean, he really just was wonderful in his rookie season, and I just think he's going to, improve on that.
He was about as good as rookie tight ends are. They're usually not even, they're never that great, and he was really good. And my one tight end on my list is Zach Ertz. And I keep targeting Zach Ertz. I really like the way he ended his season. If he can, if that's a sign of things to come with him and Wentz, it's going to be a big year for him, and he'll be a top 5 tight end. And he's going about the 10th tight end right now. So you don't have to spend on him. You can get him late in a draft. And he's my guy I'm targeting, and I'm going to try to get him pretty much, like he's my target unless one of those guys at the top somehow I can get for nothing, which doesn't probably happen. But I'm going to take Ertz ahead of people that are ranked ahead of him, like Martellus Bennett's a spot ahead of him. I'm going to take him over him. I'm going to take him over Kyle Rudolph, who's 8th. I'm going to take him over Delaney Walker, who's 7th. I'm going to probably have him as now my 6th tight end when I redo my ranks. He's going to jump Delaney Walker. So just really buying into Zach Ertz. So, all right, I think that's it, Jeff. Players we love. It's kind of the same guys we've been talking about a lot, obviously. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
We'll probably end up with a few of these guys on our team. Actually, we'll probably get into the draft and just miss out completely. There'll be somebody else will be in love with some of these guys too. Probably not unique in that situation. But that will be it for today's show. Make sure you check us out on Twitter, DFF Prophet, and follow us on Instagram at fantasyfootballprophet. We'll be back later this week with another episode. We'll talk to you guys next time.